Now it's Sunday morning. Kathy's doing her bluegrass music thing with the fiddle, and it's all very wonderful. I had researched earlier, and I've got a Gaia tracker going on here. This is Hughesville Road, just outside of Monarch, and you can catch that gentleman to the right. They have a number of dispersed camping sites along Hughesville Road. So I was just curious here on a Sunday morning. One, see what they look like, and two, see how available they are here in early June. Looks like this one's actually wide open, so let's check it out. Let's see what there is to see here. This is an absolutely beautiful little spot. I could definitely see coming back here someday and just checking out these camping spots. There's a little mountain brook on each side. I'll pop this out of the holder and kind of take it with me here. Now that is just beautiful. So the first one was occupied by a gentleman with a little travel trailer. You can see on the sign, like most places, there's only a few restrictions. It says, please limit your stay to 16 days. Now, I have no idea how crowded this is at peak season, but as of right now today, whether this is June 6th, June 7th, whatever it is, the second one I got to was wide open, and it is absolutely gorgeous. So again, Little Belt Mountains, just outside of Monarch, Montana. This is Hughesville Road, and it's a little track 120 National Forest Service road, and it has a bunch of dispersed camping sites along it. So this little offshoot was marked number 1206 with a Forest Service marking. A little bit of ground clearance would be required to get through that first part. I have no idea where it goes, so we'll just check this out. So far, it's just parallel to the Hughesville Road there. You can see there's another way to get in and out of it right there. Well, it looks like a fairly steep climb here. We'll check this out. I'll go ahead and drop it in 4 low, just to keep things less interesting. Definitely get some traffic. You can see quite a few tread marks there. A fair bit of rocks. Again, you could probably do this in a stock Subaru, but you'd take your time and you'd be careful. I'll keep this sound, or if I'll voice over it, you can hear my stuff rattling around. I didn't secure my gear from the campsite. Usually I do, but there's just a few, like my comms tub and a few other items just kind of dangling around back there. And this is actually, wow, look at that. I've got Gaia running. Looks like there's a dispersed campsite off here to the side. Check this out. It looks like it circles back to this road, or maybe that's just all this road does, but we'll see. Looks like it keeps going. Well, this would be a remarkably awesome dispersed campsite. A few ground birds over there. Probably wondering why I'm bothering their little area. Well, that's interesting. Those trees are down. Guessing people are clearing the quote-unquote widowmakers. Oh wow, there's quite a bit back here. I And not only is that beautiful, I'm not going to follow the trail because I don't have time to mess around right now. Well, I guess I do, but I'm out here by myself. Now that looks, I guess it hasn't come into view yet there in the camera. Now that looks like people take some dirt bikes and ATVs up there. Now you can see straight ahead, once again I'm looking at the camera, it doesn't do it at all justice. That's got to be a 25-degree climb. It's quite steep, and it loops and comes down the other side. Now since I'm by myself, I'm not going to mess around, but it does look, you know, dry ground now with a lot of rock underneath it. Shouldn't be too bad. And then it loops right back down to the side there. That looks pretty interesting. And again, this is a dispersed campsite. There's multiple fire rings here. And I'm just guessing people take their dirt bikes back in here, or maybe regular pedal mountain bikes. So I wouldn't want to take my mountain bike up that steep. Agreed. But yeah, quite beautiful. And again, I'm just kind of poking around back here, and this is just how beautiful this area is. I'm gonna loop around here on this little 2-track here, and it'll pop me right back on that Forest Service road. And this is pretty cool. This is literally 5 minutes from where this church camp is, where the I think it's Montana Bluegrass Society, something like that, where my wife is doing bluegrass and learning to play fiddle music. So I'll continue on. This is again that main Forest Service road. Now for what it's worth, this is my idea of overlanding. I don't go out of my way to find a rock to winch myself over, but this is absolutely beautiful. And this is absolutely where I'm going to stop. That is a very narrow shelf road, and it looks like it gets way too narrow for a regular vehicle. There's a sign up there. I'm going to go check out the sign. And I'll just back down this hill. Fortunately, I didn't go too far, so it won't be any great drama to get back down it. All right, so I don't know if I can zoom it in here. That little blue sign there, you can just see in the corner of the picture, that says state land. That's the boundary to the state land, and from there you're only allowed to walk. The trail, actually, I mean, you could take this truck or a Jeep with reasonable care, but you can't, and probably just as well. It does look like a beautiful hiking trail, and there is a dispersed site just at the bottom of the slope that's absolutely gorgeous. So I'm just gonna back down this track and head back out. So you can just kind of see me there. I'm just gonna back down this track. I just got to the end there where it says it's a walking trail only. So off we go back down the track, and if you've ever done it, you have to be very careful backing down a shelf road because you can't really see your tire placement very well. Okay, now I've got my mirrors set and pointed downward since I don't have a spotter with me, and that is to make sure my tires are only going down the shelf road. Now, when I say you have to be careful, I mean you have to be careful. This road's narrow to begin with, it's quite steep, and the drop-off is pretty extreme. So, things you don't think about. Am I moving my front tires off the track, focused on pointing my back tires where I want them to be? Similarly, am I about to rip my side mirrors off because of a large branch that I'm not focused on because I'm so focused on not driving off the edge of the shelf road? So for those of you who've done it extensively, you know, backing down a shelf road is a challenge. Backing down a very steep shelf road is also a challenge, as you can probably tell by that video looking straight out up at the sky. Okay, my head is cut off here, but I don't know if it's of any interest. You can kind of see me rubbernecking here. And now it really wasn't huge danger in this. It's widening out now. You can't see my mirrors, but I can definitely see that I'd have to be really clumsy to mess this up at this point on the trail. But up there it was a little dodgy. The other thing I've got, which I haven't gotten a lot of use out of yet, I set a backup camera looking backwards from the front frame of my, I've got a front receiver for a receiver mounted winch, and it's actually quite handy. Got my, in Illinois they require front and rear license plates, so it holds a license plate bracket normally. So I put a rear view backup camera in there, and I wired it into the head unit of my Kedwood sound system because my truck already had a backup camera that pops out of my rear view mirror. So what it does is look backward at my front tires. Think, wow, it's got to be great for tire replacement, this and that. I mean, like just now I was curious to see if it would be useful, and no. It's a cool idea, one of those many things, you prototype it, you mess with it, and in the end, I'm not sure that I would ever recommend anybody do it again. And you know, I'm being kind of stupid. What I'm going to do here, as exciting as it was backing up, I'm so wrapped up in what I'm doing, I could obviously turn around right there. So I'm just going to pull up here and be a little less zombie. I'm so focused on talking to the camera and where my tire placement was, I kind of overlooked the fact that I can very easily turn around right here without damaging anything, or including my truck. And here we go. Shifty rock there. Nothing bad. Now, those of you who've done this, you can see me kind of, well, I guess you can't because the truck is pointing forward. I can see the tree in my rearview mirror. One of the first times I had this truck out, this many years ago, backing around like this in the woods, I still have the little scuff on my fender from it. And man, was I being careful. You know, mirrors, I got a built-in backup camera, yada, yada, yada. And there's just a lot more trees than you have eyes, so just word to the wise. Okay, and now you can see what I was backing down there at the end. Like I say, kind of pointless to go backwards if you can go forwards. Okay, so I climbed back down that track. So I've got a Gaia trace going, just so if I do get confused which way I was going. I'm just going to head back out on Hughesville Road here. I took it back out of 4 low and just kind of, oh, well, I guess I didn't take it out of 4 low. Helps to push the button. Head back out on the main forest road here, which is in pretty decent shape. One interesting thing about these little Hummer H3s, so I came down kind of a hairpin there, and this thing has such a tight turning circle that if I'm aggressive, I can usually cut things like that. This one, though, I did go ahead and make it a 2-point turn there because the other thing about Hummer H3s, they have independent front suspension and they can snap those half shafts. So word to the wise, you're most likely to snap a half shaft when you have your wheels turned extremely hard and you're torquing along in 4 low. This truck is pretty much stock in most regards, and with its package, this is the Alpha. It's got a crawl ratio, I can't remember, 50-to-1 or 60-to-1. So it's got 410 gears, 4-to-1 transfer case, and then first gear on the transmission. So that's a lot of torque to put on that CV joint with your wheels cocked hard. So word to the wise, sometimes just discretion being the better part of valor. Just go ahead and back up and take it at a less sharp angle. Just a quick note, as I continued on past into the state managed area, I will say just about every spot here seems to have been taken. They do have a pit toilet here. I'm just kind of looping around to see what the various signs say. They have some signs up. It mostly just says, hey, you know, no shooting. I guess people come out here and do some target practice and whatnot. And they got a vault toilet here. But I will say, as I drove farther into Hughesville Road, almost every single spot was taken because they're really flat level spots, and it looks like people parked their RVs on them. But again, for an overlander, the more primitive and harder to access sites early on the road were all wide open. Okay, well, that sign kind of confirms what I thought. That was a little strip of state managed area that Hughesville Road goes through. There were a lot more people camped there. The sites were lower, flatter. There were a few like little probably licit or illicit Jeep trails or ATV trails shooting off to the side here and there. Not too many. The land looks in pretty good shape. But definitely a lot of folks in various spots along the way camped out. One thing I didn't mention is the little brook to the side, or creek or small river, seemed to disappear at one point in there, so I didn't quite catch where its headwaters were. But I did notice a trailer parked with what looked like racks for watercraft. So I don't know if you could take a kayak down that or not. It'd be a little exciting because at the end there's a flood control structure. So you'd have to stop ahead of that. Yeah, I can see there is the body of water off to my right here again. And it's gonna bebop on down here. And again, another beautiful primitive campsite. So again, for whatever reason, the National Forest Service campsites seem to have fewer people in them than the state managed area. I didn't bring with me, or maybe I've got it on the computer, a motor vehicle use map for this area. That would probably add some light to who manages what. It was, again, another just really beautiful little primitive campsite here alongside the water and alongside Hughesville Road. That little sign gives you a good indication why motor vehicle use maps are handy. So just pointing out, don't try to disperse camp this next mile because it's private property. And we re-enter the National Forest land. Along that track there were a ton of campsites with people in them. Unfortunately, a couple spots too where guys had kind of torn up the gravel road with their ATVs. So that's always kind of unfortunate. It's a public road that goes through there, and you would expect people to be respectful of the fact that someone maintains a road through their private land so they can get to it. But you can't quite see in the camera, there's a big spot down here to my right along the river that's in the National Forest, and there's probably 10-20 vehicles down there. Look like they're having a wonderful time. And there are marked forest roads and marked campsites along here as well. And in fact, I'm going to back up here just because this one looks kind of cool. Just going to drive up Forest Road 1200. And again, big marking. The main thing they've marked in this particular forest is that discharge of firearms is prohibited. Can't quite tell if that other sign indicates that someone reserved this. I'm going to jump out and look real fast. I'm just curious. Well, I'm glad I stopped to look. It says closed for prescribed burn activities. Please keep out. So I don't think it could be more clear than that. So I'm going to keep out. Oh, there was a truck pulling up behind me. I want to surprise him. I guess he turned off. Okay. And continuing on Hughesville Road. In fact, you can kind of see the burned out areas up the hill there. There's a beautiful area though. Curious where all else that Forest Service Road goes. As per always, the camera doesn't do justice. Hughesville Road here has turned into a beautiful shelf road. I gotta be honest, I don't like shelf roads. I'm not really particularly afraid of heights. Like driving around Moab. Moab's beautiful, amazing things to do there. I was with a high school buddy. We did rappelling down slot canyons and hiking and things like that. So I just kind of drove onto Poison Spider, went to the gateway obstacle, thought, I'm with my son, it's just one vehicle, let's not break an axle and get stranded. Turned around, went back to the gateway obstacle and left. But even the non-technical roads around Moab are almost all shelf roads. And yeah, I guess I just don't like the proportionality there. Like you make a minor mistake, you're down a mountainside and probably dead, versus, like a mud hole where, maybe you hydrolock or something. Not that I like mud holes either, but for what it's worth, this is a very beautiful road, well maintained, and just gorgeous, gorgeous vistas as you drive along it. And this is an impressive little spot here. I'm just going to bebop down a little bit just because it's absolutely beautiful. And it goes down into this little valley. It appears to be a marked trail, so I don't think anything I'm doing is illicit here. Not sure who all tends to come down here or if there's a fire ring at the bottom. Oh yeah, look at that. There's a fella down there with his RV. Well, I won't disturb them. It's kind of a social faux pas. Someone's parked in a spot with their family. Don't encroach on their good time. So I'll just drive past here, but that's interesting. There's a little spot here, and it looks to be quite beautiful. And Hughesville Road is literally like 100 feet to my left, so looks like they just kind of made a dirt track to get in and out of this dispersed site. Then there's an intersection right up here too. Looks like there might be another spur road that goes off of it. I haven't quite figured out the code of the posts with the stripes. It does seem to indicate dispersed camping sites of different varieties. I don't know if any of these are reservable. I think most all of this type of stuff is first come, first serve, but in any event, very beautiful. And again, these spots are very level, got big wide open grass around them, and it looks like quite a few people who grabbed them. Look at these guys, they had a little trouble with the wind. Looks like their shelter took a tumble. But again, very, very beautiful down here. Now, right across from that dispersed site, there is this little road that offshoots from the main road. I'm just going to go down it a little ways. It looks to have marked the entrance to a dispersed site. Just want to check it out. So yeah, look at that. Oh, this is a nice spot, and it is currently unoccupied. So again, the difference here is no one's going to want to, well, nobody, most people wouldn't want to pull their travel trailer up here. They'll go for those nice low flat spots, and they'll go fishing or whatever they're going to do. This spot and the spots after it are actually pretty snazzy. So there's a dispersed site off there to the left. Oh, look at that. Wow, that is quite an interesting little road there. It goes down and up. I'm just going to go check this out. It's not too bad. I'm not aired down or anything, but I shouldn't need any massive amount of traction to get up and down this road. But, boy, this is pretty cool. Yeah. Dropping the 4 low here just to make it boring going up the other side. Again, I'm by myself, so I don't want to do anything too courageous here and end up having to pay a few $1,000s for an extraction. Let's pop her in 4 low there and see what's at the top of this little next rise. Boy, this is something. There's some beautiful rocks here, a little babbling brook running through it. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous location here. And then cameras never do justice. I've got an inclinometer here. I'll try and give it a reading. Let's see, I'm up at 15. Yeah, between 15 and 20 degrees at the peak there. So again, that's, you can never see that. I'm just going to pull up here and I'm just going to kind of walk across this. I assume this is, there's barbed wire down that I don't want to drive over. I assume this is secured for a reason. I'm just going to peek over the hill, see what's there, then head back the way I came. Well, that's beautiful enough. I'm going to take the phone over with me just because it's kind of... But, so again, this is really quite beautiful. Just a big open prairie. You can see some people have driven it, and it just takes you back down to what I gather is Hughesville Road there. But it is just a beautiful little open meadow. No critters on it at the moment, but this is gorgeous. Now, this is a weird situation. Normally, when you see a gate down, you think, I better put it back up. I'm not really sure why it's down. But there's some padlocks and chains here as well. So I'm just going to leave it be. Lovely in a beer can. But I'm going to leave this be because I'm assuming whoever took it down for a reason. But again, absolutely beautiful over this little bluff. I'm trying to avoid turning this into a rant about iPhones, but I thought I was going to record that, and an autoplay popped up, started playing a very beautiful opera aria, and turned off my recording. But it is what it is. Someone way smarter than me apparently did the research that says irritating people with a feature that you can't turn off is a good marketing move. All right, end of rant. So I've got it in 4 low. Should make the descent calm. I'll go back down the way I came in. Get about a 15 to 20 degree grade here with some loose rocks, so I may kind of slip and slide a bit on the way down. Shouldn't be any drama going back up the other side though. So again, I can't remember, I calced it the other day. This has like a 50 to 1 or a 60 to 1 crawl ratio, so that, you know, for a stock vehicle, that's extremely handy. And through the little brook. Yeah, nice and slow up the hill. If you're out mountain biking or dirt biking or ETS, it's going to be a very cool trail. It's pretty cool as it is, just taking it slow in a truck. It's just absolutely beautiful here. And there's that really nice dispersed camping area off to the right there. So this is just a really cool spot. around the bend or back to Hughesville Road. Now at this point, I'm just going to head back to the camp where I'm staying. It's getting close to lunchtime, and I should probably help my wife prepare lunch, if nothing else, get there in time to wash the dishes. But hopefully I'll have more time during this week to just come out and continue to do this, just kind of explore all of these beautiful areas here in the Little Belt Mountains. They're really, really quite remarkable.